And we begin with a CBS 21 News exclusive. With Harrisburg on the verge of financial collapse and the state about to take over, CBS 21 has obtained audio of a city council meeting from 8 years ago. That's when a vote on the incinerator took place, which many say caused our current financial problems. CBS 21's Chris Papps live with the Dauphin County Mobile Newsroom in Harrisburg. And Chris, you've been working on this for months now, and you found that history is proving a lot of people right in this case.
Well, absolutely, Rob. You see, back on November 5th, 2003, Harrisburg City Council had a decision to make. Do they guarantee $125 million of loans to fix the city's ailing incinerator, or don't they? Well, many say this was the vote. This was the moment that led to the current financial crisis in Harrisburg. So we went back and we got the audio from that city council meeting. Now, CBS 21 News was there to cover the vote, but obviously they didn't know then what we know now. So here's what was said.
I'm telling you that this project will put the city into bankruptcy.
That was Mike Ewall, a Philadelphia resident who helped start a group called the Coalition Against the Incinerator. The night City Council voted to retrofit that facility, Ewall spoke for 15 minutes to a packed room, explaining how the numbers were wrong and why council should not accept the loan.
Because the city and the authority don't have guaranteed waste streams, overestimate their potential power and steam sales, underestimate ash disposal and operating costs, and have no guarantee of an air pollution permit. This project will put the city into bankruptcy. But who will go first, residents or City Hall?
This is how Mayor Stephen Reed's spokesman responded that night.
Everything that our opponents have said have been lies, distortions, untruths, and things that they have made up.
During public comment before the vote, dozens spoke. Only 2 supported the plan.
And if you do this, the taxes are just going to keep going up and up and up.
Please think of 7 generations down the road and don't do this.
Despite overwhelming public rejection and Ewall's testimony, council voted 6-1 to accept the $125 million loan. This was a tearful then City Council member Linda Thompson justifying her yes vote.
This has been no easy decision for me. With moral conviction, I have prayed over this, and I've prayed over this, and I've had intimate discussions with God. And my Bible tells me, let your yes be yes, and let your no be no. And if 15 or 20 years from now it proves that I made the wrong decision, charge it to my head and not to my heart.
After months of proposals, debates, public information sessions, and intense discussions, this is it. As you guys said, in just a few minutes, the Harrisburg City Council will vote on the financial future of this state's capital city.
Continuing our coverage now of Harrisburg's financial crisis, City Council rejected that Act 47 plan last night. So the big question now, what's next? CBS 21's Chris Papps is live with the Dauphin County Mobile Newsroom in Harrisburg with more. Chris.
Well, Tanya, right now Harrisburg is in uncharted territory. This has never happened before. In the history of Act 47 in Pennsylvania, there has never been a municipality that has rejected the state's financial recovery plan. So right now, Harrisburg has $310 million of debt, 6 times its budget. It has creditors and debtors that are suing it, and in the 4th quarter of this year, it's scheduled to run out of money. And now it has no financial recovery plan on the table. The president of City Council told me last night that she has no confidence that council and the mayor can work together to create a viable plan. And that is what has to happen right now. The council and the mayor have 14 days to put together a financial recovery plan that the state will accept. If they don't do that, then the city will lose millions of dollars in state funding, and then it will not be able to pay its bills. Well, the mayor just got finished briefing the media on her Act 47 proposal. You may remember 2 weeks ago from today, actually, the City Council voted down the state's Act 47 plan, so now the mayor got a chance to put forth her own, and she did that today. So what are the major differences between her plan and the state's plan that got voted down? Well, they're nearly identical plans, for the exception of 2 main features. The first one is the mayor said she will not stand for any stranded debt. Under the original Act 47 proposal, after the city would sell the incinerator and lease the parking garages, it would still have about $30 million of debt left over from the original 310. The mayor said that can't happen. The other main difference is she said that there is a commuter tax now on the table. She's not pushing for one directly, but if the city does need money, she will look to raise income taxes within the city and then tax commuters who live outside of the city and then work inside of the city. Another noteworthy aspect of what she said tonight was she said the state and the county are now willing to give the city more money to help with this financial situation. AGM, the major bondholder for the city, they said they want to wait until the city council passes a plan before they give up any more concessions on the debt that they hold from the city.
CBS 21's Chris Paps live with the Dauphin County Mobile Newsroom tonight. He is in Harrisburg. And Chris, this thing is really blowing up today.
Well, Tanya, last night before the vote, I spoke to a city leader who is not on city council, and he said the mayor's plan, which is basically just a copy of the original Act 47 plan from the state that got rejected, is just not a good plan for the city. And he said it would make sense for city council to reject that plan because then the state could come in, take the city over, implement the plan, force it onto the city. Then, if the plan fails, the state would be held accountable. And right now, it looks very likely that there might be a state takeover. Also, last night before the vote, there was a public comment session in which many people went to the mic and made this point. A few years ago, the state took over the Harrisburg School District, and now many people say the school district is worse off than before the state took them over. So why would it be any different if the city is taken over by the state? Also, one more thing to point out, the city is expected to run out of money in 2 weeks.
The story will certainly continue to cover. Meantime, continuing coverage of the capital city in crisis. As if Harrisburg's financial situation wasn't bad enough, CBS 21 News has uncovered new information showing that Harrisburg taxpayers are on the hook for even more money. We're talking big money.
Yeah, and many people don't even know about this. It's a CBS 21 News exclusive. CBS 21's Chris Paps live now with the Dauphin County Mobile Newsroom in Harrisburg. And Chris, you're the first reporter on this, and it's a staggering amount of money we're talking about.
Well, Rob, we're talking about $100 million here. Now, we found this hidden debt just hanging over the city's head, and it's related to the improvement of the downtown shopping district, Strawberry Square. Now, this is something that nobody is talking about, and it's not being dealt with in any of the city's financial recovery plans.
It was a time when the economy was strong and money was flowing. It was the late 90s and a local contractor, Harristown Development, wanted to fix up Strawberry Square, so they turned to the city for help. The Harrisburg Redevelopment Authority was heavily involved in the project, and under Mayor Stephen Reed, the city guaranteed substantial loans totaling nearly $24 million in 1998. But with interest, the total loan amount could reach $95 million. And what Harristown Development cannot pay, Harrisburg would have to pick up.
It's just another potential sword hanging over our heads. And I mean, it's there and it's real and it's $95 million. How much of that will we ultimately have to pay? I can't answer that. I guess we don't know that, but potentially all of it.
This is similar to the incinerator, where the city guaranteed hundreds of millions of dollars in loans. It can't pay back.
We're already have a large deficit, so any amount's going to make that deficit larger, and we can't pay it.
Now, we're not speculating that Harristown Development can't pay back the loan, but a couple of weeks ago, I was at a city council meeting, and a Strawberry Square representative was pleading with city council not to raise parking fees because they've already lost a few clients, and in a couple months, they're going to lose another big one that leases a lot of space from them. Live at the Dauphin County Mobile Newsroom in Harrisburg, Chris Pabst, CBS 21 News.
Well, Chris, I know these are usually on a schedule. When is the $95 million actually due?
Well, Rob, it all doesn't have to be paid back at one time, but the big question here is what is going to happen in 2016? That is when the loan payments jump from an annual amount of about $75,000 up to millions of dollars. And again, if Harristown Development cannot pay that money, Harrisburg is going to have to. When this whole Act 47 process started about a year ago, I think it's safe to say that nobody thought it would ever get to this point. But now that the mayor's plan has been rejected, nobody knows what's going to happen next. So now Harrisburg, which has a crushing debt it simply cannot pay, has no financial recovery plan, is projected to run out of money in 2 weeks, maybe even before that, and there's a very real threat. The state may take over the capital city, and that has some members of city council very concerned.
Chris, did the mayor say anything about getting more help from the county or bondholders? That was a big reason the first plan failed.
Well, at the meeting today, the mayor did say that the county and even the state have agreed to help out the city more to the tune of millions of dollars. But as far as AGM is concerned, and AGM is one of the largest creditors of the city that is actually suing the city for missing payments, they said that they're not going to give concessions until they know that City Council is going to pass this. But part of the reason the first Act 47 proposal failed was because City Council wants these things in writing. They want to know exactly what the city is going to get before they pass anything. This was a very important night, but you wouldn't know that by how many people showed up here. You see, what happens in the city of Harrisburg over the next couple of weeks will determine the future of the capital city for generations to come. Will it go bankrupt? Will it sell its assets? Will the state basically take over the city and force a recovery plan onto it, stripping its elected leaders of their power? There are roughly 50,000 people that live in Harrisburg, but in here tonight, there were 76 people. And of those 76, only 11 came to this public hearing and gave public comment.
Hang on there. This seems like it's dragging out for a long time. We have more meetings coming up on it. In the beginning, the talk was that this had to happen fast because the city's actually running out of money. Is that still the case?
Well, tonight the mayor said that there's a $5.6 million general obligation fund payment that the city has to make in the middle of September. And she said after that payment is made, the city will have no money left. That means city workers and city bondholders will not get paid.
We begin with breaking news tonight out of the city of Harrisburg. In a 4-3 vote, the city council decided tonight to take the capital city into bankruptcy.
CBS 21's Chris Papps live with the Dauphin County Mobile Newsroom in Harrisburg tonight. And Chris, was anyone expecting this? It kind of came out suddenly.
Well, no, this wasn't expected to happen tonight, but it has been discussed for a while that bankruptcy was City Council's ultimate objective, so this wasn't surprising. But what is surprising is how City Council is going about it. They've lawyered up, and they're going after their creditors and after the state. Now, I got a chance tonight to talk to the mayor's spokesperson, and he said the mayor is going to continue to implement her Act 47 plan, the one council voted down a couple of weeks back. He said she's already begun to implement a few dozen of those measures, such as moving personnel around and things like that. He says she's also going to try to sell the incinerator and lease the parking garages, two main problems council had with her plan. Live with the Dauphin County Mobile Newsroom in Harrisburg, Chris Papps, CBS 21 News.
So, Chris, the mayor's going forward with Act 47, yet City Council votes for bankruptcy. It seems like the city's going in all of these different kinds of directions tonight.
Well, the city is actually going to be pulled into three directions. City Council is going to be taking the city into bankruptcy. The mayor is going to be implementing her Act 47 plan, all that while the state will most likely be taking the city over. Now, with bankruptcy most likely taking a few years to unfold, there's just no way to know how this is going to turn out.
And we begin with a CBS 21 News exclusive on the capital city in crisis. The man who the Harrisburg City Council hired to lead the capital into bankruptcy is speaking out in his first one-on-one TV interview. CBS 21's Chris Papps is live from the Cumberland County Mobile Newsroom in Lemoyne. And Chris, yesterday you talked with this attorney about why he took on this case, and today you hit the big topic, bankruptcy.
Well, Rob, it's pretty rare that a lawyer will openly talk to the media about a case that is still in court. But as you're about to see, Mark Schwartz has a plan already laid out for why Harrisburg's bankruptcy filing was legal and why the state's attempt to block it is unconstitutional. And he's not holding anything back. He's going right after the governor and the legislature.
Yeah, I'd say historic. It's historic, but it's not like it's something that's impossible.
In fact, Harrisburg City Council bankruptcy attorney Mark Schwartz believes it's the exact opposite. His winning in court is entirely possible, and the strategy is simple.
I'll go through the cases, I'll go through the Pennsylvania Constitution, I'll go through applicable statutes.
What's at stake is a state law passed earlier this year that prohibits Harrisburg from filing for bankruptcy. Even though it received overwhelming bipartisan support from both houses of the legislature and was enthusiastically signed by Governor Corbett, Schwartz says that bill is unconstitutional for two reasons. First, the PA Constitution prohibits specific legislation, and even though the bill was written to apply apply to all third-class cities, Schwartz challenges that intent.
Well, it said no third-class city that is distressed. Okay, so that's like putting a bullseye on your forehead. Who else could that be?
Schwartz also says the bill didn't meet general standards of legislation and is historically problematic. Plus, it's unclear as to what type of bill it is. For example, is it special or ex post facto legislation? Also, why was it pushed through so quickly? And did the legislators even have time to read it before voting?
This is the place to stop playing politics and stop playing process. I'll take it over, you take it over, who takes it over. I want to get out of this a plan that puts Harrisburg on a sound financial footing, because the political process has been a failure.
Now, aside from the constitutional and statute-related issues with the bankruptcy law, Schwartz also takes issue with the language in the bill. He says it doesn't stop Harrisburg or prohibit Harrisburg from filing for bankruptcy. All it does is say if the city does, it loses state funding. Live at the Cumberland County Mobile Newsroom in Lemoyne, Chris Pabst, CBS 21 News.
Well, Chris, even though Schwartz is going up against the governor and the legislature, he seems quite confident that he's going to win. Why?
Well, Rob, Schwartz sees this situation as tailor-made for him. Throughout his career, he's worked on Capitol Hill, he's been a bond attorney, and he's been an investment banker. So that pretty much encompasses all the major players here. So he feels like he has pretty good reason to be very confident.
Chris, what does tonight's results mean for the balance of power in city government?
Well, as far as the balance of power is concerned, it seems to be shifting away from Mayor Thompson. I spoke with Sandra Reed a short while ago, and she said she would have voted against the original Act 47 plan. She would have voted against the mayor's financial recovery plan, and she would have voted for bankruptcy. So the Gang of Four could theoretically become the Gang of Five, and with that fifth vote, that would be a veto proof against anything the mayor would want to do. Well, Tanya and Rob, after months of speculation, it is now official. Pennsylvania will take over as capital city. And at this point, that announcement really isn't even all that surprising. Over the past couple months, the mayor and the city council couldn't agree on a financial recovery plan 3 times. And this fourth attempt to do so proved to be more of the same.
The Harrisburg mayor, city council, and the state went to court today to do battle over the capital city's bankruptcy filing. And it's costing money. It's costing us a lot of money. CBS 21's Chris Pabst begins our team coverage. He's live at the Dauphin County Mobile Newsroom in Harrisburg. And Chris, you've been looking into this. How much will this end up costing taxpayers, not just from the city, but from the state?
Well, Rob, at this point, there's no way of knowing how much it's going to cost taxpayers because there's no way of knowing how long it's going to last. The judge who's assigned to this situation could throw it out soon, or she could rule that the filing was legal and this could be in court for quite some time. But we can give an estimate for how much money has been spent so far.
And we begin tonight with the capital city in crisis and a CBS 21 News exclusive. We have uncovered more hidden debt that will further cripple the capital city. CBS 21's Chris Pabst joins us live tonight with the Dauphin County Mobile Newsroom in Harrisburg. Chris, tell us how much money we're talking about here.
Well, Tanya, this is a huge amount of money, $184 million. And much like the other hidden debts that we've exposed here on CBS 21 News, that being Strawberry Square and the sewage plant upgrades, this is not being dealt with in any of the financial recovery plans. But at least those first two, Strawberry Square and the sewage plant, are mentioned in the Act 47 plans. This $184 million that we're talking about tonight is nowhere to be found.
When people think Harrisburg financial crisis, most think incinerator. And while that debt is huge, it's just the beginning. Did you ever hear the term OPEB? It stands for Other Post-Employment Benefits. Basically, when someone retires from the city, they not only get a pension, they get these OPEBs, which cover health care. In 2008, an OPEB study found that Harrisburg owes its future retirees an astounding $184 million.
So how big of a deal is this?
It's huge.
Why is it getting no attention?
Because it's not being felt right now.
But it soon will be felt, and in a big way. According to the study, Harrisburg should be paying $18 million every year to fully fund these OPEBs for the future. But the city can only afford about $4.5 million, which is what it owes its current retirees. So the liability for all future retirees is $184 million, and eventually Harrisburg will have to pay it.
We're not going to have any money to pay it. Benefits have to be put in line with what not only the city can afford, but what's going on in the private sector.
This debt is so hidden, the people affected most don't even know about it. Eric Jenkins, the president of the Firefighters Union, gave us this statement, quote, "That would be a concern that the benefits would not be there to cover our guys. But I'll be honest with you, I've never heard of this. But it's a grave concern, hands down." Despite this massive debt not appearing in any recovery plan, the mayor's office said this, quote, "The mayor and Act 47 call for addressing this situation